makes sense. And you know, like I said, if there is surplus at the end of the year and we need it for something, you know, there's always that option.
Well, the other issue too, not to interrupt, is the fact that the veterans that are receiving services right now, I remember 2 of them, and I strongly believe that they are not paid appropriately. Significantly, where, you know, medical expenses are reimbursed by Chapter 115. Travel expenses, living expenses are all reimbursable to a certain degree. And we get some veterans out there, you know, collecting, you know, like $104 a month from Chapter 115, wherein this individual pays for Medicare B, which is $104 a month, which is 100% reimbursable. Plus, he owns his house. He pays, you know, he has, you know, taxes he has to pay. He pays for oil, heat. You know, all that stuff counts in the computer system where more money is tacked on. And I did it in my head, and basically, one of the individuals should be around $600 a month, not $104 a month. So that's a significant increase. So I'm not saying that Quabbin wasn't doing what they needed to do to take care of Templeton, you know, veterans, but I definitely know that the people that I have sat with, that their benefits should be increased dramatically, which is also why it's also been increased as well, based on, you know, the 8 veterans that are receiving benefits right now.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else, Mr. Kapos, that you wanted to?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Unless you guys have some questions.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is to discuss the amendment to the MSBA contract. I know Melissa's here to discuss that.
So I have 2 things. One is, we had a meeting, a phone conference with MSBA the other day, kind of kickoff meeting, because we're finishing the feasibility by June. And Jeff Bennett had signed the original contracts, I think back in July of last year, but we can't locate the copies, and the copies that MSBA got were, apparently somebody scanned them in, but so they only have every other page. So could we get, yeah, I know. Could we get just these 3 signed? I'll give you one original. I'm going to send MSBA one, and I'd like to keep one for us.
Sure.
Do you mind? Thanks. So it's just re-signing those.
Okay.
I think you have to do it, Kim.
Right. Oh, now? You want it now? Here.
So these aren't amendments, these are the originals.
Those are the originals that somehow have been misplaced. But we need to get a copy to MSBA. And it was for that, the original amount of money, the original $550,000 of money. So when I came to last time, I gave you a contract for the designer. And then at that same time, I give you a list of the services, surveyors, wetlands, the kind of thing that gave you the total budget. Well, the OPM has told me that the only way that those people get paid is through the design work. So the design, they actually should be, those services should be included in the designer's contract. And if they weren't, so there's an amendment, 4 copies, if you would vote to approve to sign those.
Is that the 160,000 or the 68,000?
It's the total dollar amount less, well, I think there was a 15,000 contingency fee. You can look at it. It was a list of services that I gave you last time. So it was, I forget the dollar amount for the designer. And then there was wetlands and surveys and testings.
I think this is what I had tagged. If I had known this was going to be on the agenda, I would have brought my material. Okay, so I think if we go to, so it's 8,000 for topographical,
Correct.
8,000 for wetlands, 28,000 for geotechnical, 8,000 for geoenvironmental, and 11,500 for traffic.
Correct. And that should be the exact amount that was on your original budget sheet that the OPM gave us, but didn't add it to the contract.
Right.
And I just need all 4 of those signed.
Yeah, I
Jeff,
think
you
we were
guys look
told
it
at
up.
that time that this wasn't going to be, wasn't necessary and going to be included because we're still not sure how much money we have in the elementary school building account from the original 550.
Well, we did get that worked out. So, and I'm sure that if they're looking at the debt, the Department of Revenue, I'm sure that they can fully account for the debt that's still outstanding or due to
So,
the project.
is there any documentation that exists anywhere that says how much money is left?
I
in the
gave that
original
to
amount?
the committee last time I was here, I believe, 313,000. And there was a discrepancy of 10,000, and there were emails back and forth from the OPM and Jeff Ritter, the past town administrator, documenting that money. I didn't come prepared for that tonight because I thought I had already given it to you, but I can certainly give it to you another time. This is just being able to finish the feasibility in July, getting the documents to the department, the MSBA, so that Coes Hill can be your preferred design and they can move on from there.
So the total change in the dollar amount that this amendment then obligates us to is, or is there no
The
change?
increase in those services, there's a list of services there, Julie just read them.
Yep, the 160.
Right, that's it, yes, which does, and there's still a contingency fee of $10,000. I mean, we're still not using all the money from the 550,000.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
did those figures that you had for the amount that's in there come from the accountant? Because I have not seen anything from the accountant at all, and as to how much there is. In fact, I think he's still shipping on that, from what I understand.
Why? It's been weeks.
Well, it comes from documentation from what was submitted through the propay account through MSBA, which has a total accounting of all of it.
Well, the dollars really should reside here with the accountant. I mean, he would be the person that they can end up verifying what we have for money. It's not MSBA. They don't have our accounting system.
That had been asked, and no one could produce that money from the office. So therefore, we took another course, and I know when Jeff was here, he worked with the accountant to come up with that dollar amount, and the emails can substantiate that if you need it.
They were included the last time Ms.
They
Miller was
were
here,
included.
that exchange back and forth.
Is this the money that we're gonna vote on in May?
No. It's money you already voted on, and the town meeting already approved the spending of it. This is money that hasn't been spent.
I'm still, I think this is how we end up, as a town, getting into trouble. We need to have firm figures from our accountant, this is a town project. And I know that we've spent $230,000 out of the 550, which leaves you 220. We spent $75,000 and signed a contract for the OPM. And then we did 160, and now we have these additional costs. I think that's significantly over the $220,000 that I believe is left. I also have nothing to substantiate that with.
I was gonna say, because you're not the town accountant either.
Exactly. Okay, but we are put in this position to make this decision, and I don't believe, in my opinion, we don't have enough information, facts on paper in front of us with numbers to make this decision tonight.
Here's my question. We were in the same position, 2 months ago?
Yep.
With the exact same answer. So why can't we get this maybe that's the reason this town is in this problem, because we asked for figures 2 months ago and can't get them from anyone. I think that is more likely why this town is in the problem than we're in, than spending more than we have. Because I don't know what more we can do literally to get these figures. I mean, what else can we do if we can't get them? Yes.
You gotta realize too, it's not just the school system that's in this position. There's a lot of our departments that have money that's not been encumbered into our accounts for fiscal 14, and we're still waiting for 2 years from the accountant to get figures straightened out. So, I mean, I can understand where Julie's coming from, I can see where you guys are coming from, but it's not just the schools issue.
right.
It's all our departments.
Right, so then clearly this is a bigger issue than let's just not vote on this. I don't know if I can ask the town administrator if he has any suggestions as to what we need to do with staffing. Or I understand that, again, the town's been encumbered with a lot of other problems that we need to resolve, but now for months and months and months, this is the answer we get. We can't get a figure.
Well,
we have an obligation, I think, to be able to tell taxpayers and the community and DOR and everyone else who needs that information, how much money we have, and to come back every several months and say, oh, we still don't have it, we still don't have it. That's part of the problem why a problem we discovered in November is not being dealt with until, annual town meeting this year.
I can tell you that the town accountant is still playing catch-up with the general ledger and with cash reconciliation. We did have a conversation today, though, where we discussed the comments from some department heads that they're not getting sufficient information, that the budget information that they have doesn't jive with what the accountant seems to have, and that the next focus that Matt is going to have is basically to address those issues. As far as this particular item, I think that he'll be here tomorrow, and I'll send him a message saying, get this number squared away and respond to us as soon as possible. I think we can get this number and assure the board
This needs to be on the next agenda.
that it's for real.
Because again, I think that.
had come in a little while ago, a month or so ago, and asked that, and, prior to coming to you last time,
Yeah.
and it wasn't forthcoming, and I know you're buried.
Yeah.
It is a little different than what you have, only because it's a debt exclusion, so it's not part of the general fund, which is a little more clear-cut. And that's why I went to the background information, to MSBA, and to the records, and and I actually forwarded the records from the past town accountant, which I had. And I don't know if I gave them to you or not, but I had all the ledgers from the town that substantiates the number I'm telling you.
And the emails back and forth.
And the emails back and
We all got
forth.
those.
So this is a really tight timeline to get this done, and you can't get it done without surveys and other, and they're not like out there spending the money. I think there's been one bill. I mean, have you even gotten a bill from the OPM?
If we have, we probably haven't paid
Right,
it.
yeah, but I don't, yeah, but maybe one bill since last July, that they're obviously not going out to just spend the money. The principal of the firm for strategic buildings is doing all the work himself. He's not even having one of his people do it. So this is not a group of people that are taking advantage of the town for their money. They are doing it as dirt cheap as they possibly can, and they're trying to get it done in the time frame, which is June, which doesn't give us a week or two to kind of wait to see if we can figure it out. I don't know why the numbers I gave you last time with the backup documentation isn't enough to substantiate that we have the 313,000, which is 10,000 less than what Jeff Ritter had come up with.
When I also think too that it is a little troublesome for the town overall to where, asking people to give us an extra $500,000 on their taxes, and we can't tell them in 2 months how much money is in some of these accounts. I think that raises bigger problems that have wider implication than this contract. But if that's going to be the position of the board, then that would be the position of the board, that we can't tell you where your money is. So, is there a motion? Is anyone making a motion regarding this?
I can confirm that the superintendent has asked for this information. It just
Several times.
hasn't been done, yes.
So, do I have a motion regarding this?
I make a motion that we sign the request for designer services.
Is there a second? Okay. Okay.
So the potential is that
Yeah.
this could be it.
What I would propose is that,
That's ridiculous.
that we tell Matt tomorrow, we have to have a number tomorrow. Not Wednesday, not Thursday, not Friday, we need it tomorrow. And that we schedule
An
another
emergency
meeting
meeting, just to
on
sign this.
Thursday or Friday, once we know what the number is, and make a decision this week.
If we asked for this number 2 months ago and Matt can have it to us by tomorrow, I would be more concerned with that answer than if you told us he couldn't get it to us. Quite frankly, we pay these people taxpayer dollars to be able to get things done. We make multiple requirements.
Well, but again, over the last month, we've been,
Right.
struggling with the 2013 thing, getting the demands of the DOR taken care of. The majority of that is now behind us.
Right. But I don't, again, we get into this habit of we're having, scheduling emergency meetings constantly. If business was run
Why can't you
appropriately the
just
first
vote?
time.
If the number that I said
Well,
is
there
right,
wasn't-
you would
right, there-
give the chair
Right.
the authority to sign it.
There wasn't a second, so people can follow up with that themselves, but I don't see
Are
calling
you
an
the
emergency
only one
meeting to do
who has to
this.
sign this? Are you the
Well-
only one? Can I amend my motion?
Well, no, we have to vote on it
Oh,
then. So, yeah, I'm not calling an emergency meeting to deal with this.
So then can I make a motion that we, as Ruth just suggested, that we allow the chair to sign once we've validated that the 313 number is
Right,
correct?
that's what I was gonna say.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I'll make
Okay,
that.
is there a
Second.
second? Okay, Julie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Can I just ask one question? Can you just give him all 4 copies so I get 4 copies back? You have to sign 4.
Can you pass those
And
down,
if you can
please?
just sign those tonight, Ken.
Oh, here's
Um,
one.
If for some reason, it wouldn't surprise me that you don't get the number
That's great.
this week, I mean, at what point will you decide to take the documentation that I gave you last time?
And whenever a majority of this board agrees to do that, and that would be, I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be glib,
No,
but
that's okay.
that's the response. As soon as a majority of this board agrees to do that, then that's when we'll be able to move forward.
When will Matt be in tomorrow?
1:30.
1:30? Would it be okay if I came in and I could bring all the documentation to help him find the numbers? Would that be okay?
I'll send him a message saying, put aside what you're doing and get this done. And I think he'll be able to do something
Okay.
there.
I'll swing by. Thank you very much, Joe, I appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
You know, this guy, Matt, has been busting his butt for months now, trying to straighten out the mess that we have. This mess was not made in a day or a week, so it's not gonna get fixed in a day or a week. You come in with a stack of papers that somebody lost half of them.
We lost them, not her.
Somebody lost them, I mean,
We
give me a
did.
break.
We did.
But I think that you need to go easy on Matt, because he may just turn around, walk out the door and not come back.
When it comes to taxpayer dollars, if he was my personal employee, I'd cut him slack, but I believe this board has an obligation and a duty when people spend their hard-earned tax dollars to not cut people
But
slack
also,
if we can't get accomplished
He
what we
has
need to get
done
accomplished.
he's done his, a lot of work for us.
Oh, I understand, all of our town
And the other guy
employees
needed out the door.
have, right.
So, I doubt that the world's gonna stop turning tomorrow if she doesn't get her paperwork signed.
No, it's the point, and just to reiterate, the point is not that this isn't getting signed now. The point is that we had this exact same discussion 2 minutes ago. This is why we had meetings until 10:30. We had this discussion 2 months ago. There's been absolutely no progress, so now we're having it again. And it wastes your time, it wastes our time, it
Well,
wastes
you know
people at
what?
home time.
It's a little town with no money, get used to it.
Yeah. Yes.
Comment? I mean, 2 months ago, we were in the throes of a lot of issues and we, gave Matt the slack. I mean, we're now at the point where, he should be able to provide a number like this relatively simple. I mean, we've got this new software, the conversions have been done. I mean, it ought to be relatively simple to get. So I think it's time that we, can't be unreasonable, but it's time to ask for things that we need.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sorry.
This is off the subject, but Ruth is here, and I don't know if you'll know, but when they did the asbestos removal in all the schools, do you know if they did lead removal too?
They didn't do asbestos removal.
Okay, because that was a rumor I heard today.
Yeah, no, that's a rumor. No, there's still asbestos in the other buildings. It's out of the boiler in some of those areas, but there
Okay.
is still, like, there's some in the tiles.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if those chip up, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I didn't know of a full abatement. But what you can do is, Bill Claybaugh has a book in every single school that documents all of it. You can just go down and see those.
That's where I got my information.
Okay,
Yeah, so, yeah, you had looked at those books. There was one for ET as well, right?
Yes, there was one for each of the schools,
Right.
which I made sure I had a copy of.
Right, and it documents that it's there, and it's either there causing a problem or it's there not causing any problem, which the case
Well, the
is
boiler's
at the
gonna go
moment.
anyway, so that.
So,
I was asking about the
huh?
lamp change.
But I think, well, we went back and we tested the walls in both the schools and found that there was a lot in Baldwinville and only a little bit in TC, so there might only be a little bit in ET.
Okay.
But contact Bill Claybaugh, he won't be in tomorrow, he'll be in Wednesday.
Okay.
And he probably could tell you how to go all about that, though.
Okay,
He'd be
thanks.
happy to help.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The next item that we have on the agenda is to discuss capital item articles. And will our representative be doing that?
Yeah, the reason I asked to put this on is, you know, the committee, we made the recommendations to the board. We had to vote our articles, you know, for annual town meeting last week in order to get it done, but we failed to really discuss what, if any, capital articles the select board wants to put forward. Now, the majority of them either have already made it to the annual town meeting or were on the special town meeting that we just had. But the articles, the two for the highway, the Ford dump truck and the loader, we haven't really discussed, nor have we discussed the roof repair for Templeton Center. So, you know, again, the highway truck and the Templeton Center roof would be additional debt exclusions. The highway is asking for the loader out of Chapter 90 funds. You know, we would need to authorize them to use Chapter 90. When the highway department came to the capital planning, the truck was the Ford truck was their #1 issue because they had to take 2 trucks out of service this past year. So now not only are they down people, they're down vehicles as well. So that was his, you know, #1 choice if he had to only get one or the other. However, if we do the loader out of Chapter 90, then that wouldn't have any effect on the tax rate. So that's just the information. I just thought, you know, we should have a discussion, decide, you know, if we're going to put any of these remaining 3 articles forward or not.
My only comment regarding the new loader was that we may want to wait and see what else is on the Chapter 90 priority list before we allocate Chapter 90 funds at this point. That would be I did email Jean today, regarding, you know, when she expected that, and I made it very clear, I'm not rushing you, I'm just asking, you know, when, so I can let people know who have inquired. So that's my only comment regarding those items. I don't know if anyone else has anything.
I would have the same comment, but
I think we need to wait to
On all
figure
of
out
it.
what's gonna happen as far
Yeah.
as the
No, we're
override
right.
goes. You know, it's not a good position to be in, and whatever we vote can be negated or turned around, so at this point, I think we need to wait.
Yeah, that's fine. Just thought we should have the discussion.
All right, thank you very much for the information. Okay, I believe that covers everything that was on our agenda with the exception of selectmen comments. I do want to discuss 2 future agenda items. We do have a lease that I believe we just received from the Himza Haven Inc., which is the animal rescue shelter that is leasing our space where we used to do animal control. Bob received a copy of that, and before obviously I signed it, I wanted it to be discussed on an agenda, as an agenda item, so I will ask that be on our agenda for next time for our meeting on the 28th. The next item that we have that I wanted to possibly suggest as a future agenda item, as I had discussed with Mr. Spring, and, you know, as has been alluded to several times this evening, kind of the precarious situation that the town is in with their finances, and that it may behoove us to, I know that the advisory board has been working hard, coming up with kind of Plan A and Plan B budgets, and there's been a lot of discussion. I know they actually went longer than us last Monday night. So Will had suggested the possibility of holding a joint meeting in the Kiva. The Kiva is free on April 30th. As a joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Board to kind of see where both groups are.
We present the 2 budgets, so that you see what the budgets are, so we end up, we're on the same page here as far as budgets go. That would be the green sheet as well as the revenue and expenditure sheet.
And I didn't know if anyone had an opinion, or I didn't want to say yes without asking if anyone had an opinion, where they thought it would be a good idea, a bad idea.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay. And I don't think we need to take a vote on that, but you can go ahead and schedule it if you want for the 30th of April in the Kiva.
6:30?
6:30 is great. If that works for everyone else. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other selectmen comments, future agenda items? Yes, ma'am.
The schedule for Memorial Street construction, we just received it, and they're in week 2 right now, which means putting in temporary water mains, chlorinating and sampling, hooking up residences, and cutting trees. And I would like the schedule to be placed on the town website so that there's also contact information for the contractor, and I think sometimes residents have questions after hours, so I think that would be a good place to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just have one more, I'm sorry, that just came to me. If to add the pilot to discussions involving for the next meeting as well. And if you would, whether they want to come is up to them, if you would like to invite Mr. Joyce Skoll, and I guess if anybody would like to come on their behalf.
Oh, the pilot payment?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the solar pilot, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Because that obviously is part of our budgetary process, and we did receive communication from them earlier this month, so.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one thing. I had spoken about this at the last meeting, that Sonia from MOC and the Child and Family Services, or Narragansett, what their name is, she would like to come on the 28th and just give information and speak on that, but she's not sure, like, when would she be on, and, you know, I'm just gonna tell her it's at 6:30 and she could stay for the whole thing and just present whatever she wants. I'll send you her information so that you can, I'll send you her stuff. I just wanted to, I didn't answer her today because I wanted to talk about it here, but she said that she would be available on the 28th, because I told her we had changed our schedule back to normal.
Anything else? Bob, anything?
No, just assurance that we'll get this number so you can go forward with this. Matt has only been on the job since the 1st of April. And before that, it was spread, as you know. And he's been playing triage here, but we can certainly interrupt what he's doing and make sure we get this done so this doesn't get derailed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second. I beat you.
Everyone always races to that one. Julie?
Yeah.
Doug? Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. So you want to scan her back, and then I'll...
Oh, yeah.